Whether this is your first time or you've been working out for a while, here's 15 essential things to think about when selecting gear that's best for you for indoor cycling. Interested? Here we go. So one of the first things to consider is socks. I like the low cut socks. If you get them too high, they have a tendency just to go down, whether that's indoor cycling or outdoor cycling. Jerseys. Do you really need one? They're nice to have if you're an outdoor cyclist and you're pretty serious about it. You've probably gotten into the jersey craze. But when I'm indoor cycling, I'm just using a blend shirt, something, that's a dry shirt, they call it. It works really well, allows sweat and moisture to pass through without getting really wet and damp. Although the jerseys are nice and you have the ability to zip them up and down, but it's totally up to you. A towel is really important for wiping yourself off, wiping your gear off. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be just a cheap terry 100% cotton. That's what I use. Gloves. If you're not a cyclist, you may not be using gloves, but I'll tell you what, it's really helpful. It helps you keep the grip on the bike, and it's just really comfortable on your wrist or hands. You just can't go any amount of time or distance, or at least I can't, unless I have gloves on. It's just such a big deal. And they're relatively cheap. You can get some for $10 or $15. I'll post some links below if you're interested. If you're not a cyclist, you might not think the cycling shorts are essential. And indoor cycling, you probably can get away without having any, but I tell you what, once you're serious into the sport, whether it's cycling indoors or outdoors, you really owe it to yourself to try the cycling shorts. I know, I don't care who you are, everybody's apprehensive to wear these things at first. Whether it's indoor cycling or outdoor cycling, it's just one of those essential things you really should look into if you don't have them already. It makes the ride so much more comfortable. And if somebody gives you guff for it or you're worried about that, don't hang out with those people. They're just not worth it. A bike. You can get one that has a friction pad and a chain, or something a little more ninja, which is belt driven and magnetic. But you want something that kind of moves back and forth on the height adjustments, the seat adjustments. You want something that has wheels on it that you can move around, and that has a frame that's going to allow you to safely be in place and not have to worry about it. One thing that I find unnecessary, personally, is the mats that people put down between the bike and the floor. I've been using this bike for 10 years. I've had it on all sorts of surfaces. It doesn't mark the floor. It doesn't move around, and it doesn't damage the carpet, the wood, the tile, whatever it is. This bike has been everywhere. But if you're interested in a mat, I'll post a link below for one that I think will help you out. Seats. You can get a big seat like this one, or a more slimmer seat like this one. Either way, you might want a little more cushion. And so you can get one of these things. All of these items I'm talking about, I'll post some examples below that you can check out if you're interested. Slide it over the horn, pull it down, and take the toggle, and just boom, you're there. So if you like that, you can take it with you. If you're into cycling classes, I strongly encourage you to take something like this. If you need that extra padding, it's a relatively small investment for comfort. If you're not going to go with the bike shorts, the bike seat with a little extra padding is another great option. Apps, do you need them? Well, I'll post up here a whole discussion on whether or not apps are for you. So I'm not going to go into deep details, and this also comes up to how much information do you need on the bike. This is a raw bike. This is like any bike that you get from the store. It has no cadence, no mileage, there's no indication whatsoever, and it works perfectly well. If you go 70 to 90 RPM, that's the cadence, and you go for about a half an hour, that's typically around 10 miles for most people. What do you need in a pedal? You can get shoes and special pedals that clip in. They're clipless pedals, they call them. And I have one of those on my bike, but I don't use it inside. You really don't need it. You could go with a straight pedal if you're a little nervous about strapping in, but putting in some sort of toe clip like this, and they cost about $10, $15, it really does help you transfer the pedal power or your leg power into the bike and give you a much more solid workout. So even though I don't recommend clipless pedals, even for a relatively inexpensive one, you're talking $40, $50 just for the pedal itself. And then the shoes, oh my gosh, the shoes nowadays are $80 to $100 plus. I've seen some of upwards to $180, $200 for just the shoes that clip into the $40 to $100 pedals. You can get pretty quickly, just in the pedal area, more than what you might pay for the bike, which is crazy. Shoes, I just use regular shoes. I don't have laces on these. I find that they work a little better when I'm going around. Sometimes when you have shoes that have laces, have a tendency to just kind of hit the laces on the side there, and it's just a thup, 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 and it can get kind of crazy and kind of annoying. So that's why I don't use shoes with laces. You can also use those elastic laces, and they don't do the same kind of fluppity, fluppity, fluppy that. Let's talk water bottles. Ones that you use outside on regular bikes probably are going to work great. There's different designs though. Here is a flip top that's fairly good when it closes. And you want a bottle holder. Most bikes do come with bottle holders, and they seem to be this quick slide one, or they'll have them mounted up here, or they'll have them mounted in the back. You want some sort of water bottle to keep you hydrated. Now, something that has a twist top like this, it's just too hard. And if you're outside working out, because you're moving the bike a lot more, that one wouldn't work well out in the wild because all the water would slosh out. Inside, you might be able to get away with something like that. There you go. But an ideal water bottle is just a very simple design, something that's easy to open and close, and you can even do it with your mouth like that. Pour it in, and then on the bike inside you certainly don't have to close it, but outside you would probably close it up just because of the sloshing around. So water bottle is very essential. What to put in the bottle is just as important as the bottle itself. Now I know people are pushing sports drinks. When I rode my bicycle 3,600 miles across the United States, I used water. Water is the simple answer. Maybe a little bit of ice depending on who you are. Don't put too much ice in there. It's not good for you. But the sports drinks, Gatorade, whatever you want to use, sometimes it saps your energy. I was in the middle of Kansas and I got a heavy load of Gatorade from a rest stop, and it was just so thick and syrupy, I just couldn't drink it. And I was thirsty as all heck, so I had to actually go into a fire department and just pour out the bottle and ask them for some just fresh water in order to keep going on that ride that day. Do yourself a favor and just try straight water. And you're exercising for more than 30 minutes or an hour or even 2 hours, okay, maybe put a little bit of a sports drink in there, maybe do a half and half. You can do the recovery drink afterwards. On the bike itself, stick with the simple solution, water. So there you go. Some simple essentials, nicest to have, and things that you can avoid. Thumbs up and comments always appreciated. What are some things that you think are essential that I might have missed on this list? Please post them in the comments below so that we can all learn and share. If you're interested in sports evaluations, making and breaking stuff, designs of all kinds, check out my channel and please subscribe, because you never know what you're going to see.